Okie doke. You look good in purple. We both have our little puffy sleeves.
Thanks. No, I feel like this is too low. Like I feel like I should be like this, but I have several books.
It looks good.
All right. We are live. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the JCPS Digital Learning Channel. My name is Kathleen Receiver, and I'm one of the digital innovation leaders here in JCPS that works on the innovation team. And I am very fortunate today to be joined by one of my colleagues, Rebecca Reynolds, and she leads the Zone 1 wonderful elementary schools on the digital innovation team as well. And we're excited, Rebecca, to have you here with us today to talk about the amazing Twitter and what a great PLN it is.
Exactly. Yeah. I know that we were looking for sessions and it was like instantly like I want to share out and tell people about Twitter and kind of give them the basics because I know there's some people out there that need the basics. So if you're tuning in live, I'm Rebecca Reynolds, and I am also from the Digital Innovation team. And if you're not tuning in live, always use that power of pause as I go through everything, and you use your accounts. And always remember that if you have any questions, if you get that Twitter account going, you can DM me on Twitter or you can email me, and I'll go over that at the end. So I'm going to share my screen, and we're going to go through this little hassle. Make sure that Miss Kathleen can see, and I have my CCs on. Oh, somebody's in there. Okay. All right, good to go?
Yep, it looks good.
Okay, so as I said, we're going to talk about Twitter for teachers, leaders, all educators. I guess I should have been more broad with our title. So what we're going to go over today is why use Twitter as an educator, setting up your new profile, and not like the logistics of setting up your new profile, but if you already have a profile, like making it approachable and showing your hashtags, where you work, what you follow, your passions, all of those different things to set you apart and really show everyone who you are. Then some Twitter symbols. I know that they've been pretty basic over the years, but there are some new ones, and they always love to change positions on your dashboard. Who to follow in JCPS mainly today. I know that I can't tell you who to follow otherwise, but just hashtags to follow too within the district and in Kentucky as well. And then kind of what to tweet and how to use Twitter as that PLN, as Kathleen said. I know that so many people see social media as a burden, but Twitter is one thing that I really like to go to as an educator to kind of get a relief of that regular social media that you go through on Facebook and Instagram and things like that. And then another resource is TweetDeck that we're going to go over. And then I have a couple resources for you to have your kids tweeting in the classroom. And it could be on your actual Twitter or just fake. So we're going to go through that. All right. First off, I know that my good friend Mimi Ratliff has done a training like this before for our new teachers, and that is a live Twitter 101 training. It's about 2 hours long, I think she said, but I have her tagged on here for her Twitter account. Follow her. She has like 5,000 followers. She is a goddess of Twitter. So I hate to follow up on her with this, but this is her s'more that she created. Can you still see this, Kathleen?
Yep, we can see it.
Okay, cool. So she basically is going to go, or she has gone over everything in this video. So if you feel that you learn better by reading, press pause or leave this video. I don't want you to, but go through here, read. She has really great information, going through all those symbols, how to use interactions and start that conversation on Twitter. So that's a resource that I want you guys to have. So thank you to her, and hopefully I'm not making you seasick with that. And we're going to go back. Okay. Let's make sure that that's full screen. Cool. CC's still on. So I wanted to have that resource for you, and she made that through S'more. So why get on Twitter? I don't care what age you are, how many years you've been in education, if you're a student, teacher, or if you're just thinking about education. Get on Twitter, look up these hashtags I'm going to share with you, share what you're doing. And the big one for me is learn. I really love to follow people outside of Kentucky that are in education and in tech and just learn from them and try out their ideas. I think it's a really great way to build your PLN, as I said before. You can follow your interests and passions. Now, my interests and passions probably are dogs and technology. So, I follow things like the Humane Society, but I try to keep Twitter really specifically for professional reasons and for work through education. So those are some of the things that I follow. And then a fact that I learned from Mimi is that JCPS has one of the highest Twitter usages in Kentucky and in all of the United States. So as a district, so that's really great. I know we're a big district. And then something that she also shared is kind of like a recipe for Twitter is to follow. So follow a person or follow a company or follow a resource that you love. Reply to what they're working on, retweet with what they're working on, share with what they're doing, and do it again. So repeating that. So I'm going to go through some profile setup tips. So not exactly how to insert your email and things like that, but I'm going to go to, it's kind of awkward to look at my own Twitter. But what I have done is really painted a picture for who I am. As a digital innovation leader, Kathleen and I, we both look through Twitter, we see someone do something amazing at a school, and we want to shout you out. And sometimes it's very difficult to find Bob so-and-so when you don't list what school you're at, what district you're at, what you're passionate about, a photo of you, things like that. So I really wanted to do that so people can find me, people can ask me questions and see exactly what I do. So obviously I have a weird picture of me in a Google Hangout. And then my banner is actually all my Zone 1 ESTILs. So I'm really passionate about helping them and seeing them as leaders in the district. And then on my description down here, I kind of included the same types of things. And if you notice when they turn blue, you can actually click those and go check out those hashtags or those accounts. And we're going to go over what hashtag versus that @ is, and it pops up for you. So I put my title, I put what zone I'm in JCPS, just some quick tips about myself. If you're also Google trained or you're also an Apple teacher, or you just have questions about those, feel free to ask. And then we're going to go through hashtags later, but I included some of our main JCPS hashtags on my page because when I open up Twitter, it's going to open up, I like to go to my profile and quickly click on We Are JCPS or JCPS Dig In and see what's going on. And then I just gave a little history that I used to work at Klondike. I love to click on their page and just sneak in there. So just painting a picture of who you are when you make your profile. Okay, so for our Twitter symbols, pretty much the same as normal. We have your little speech bubble as a comment to comment on a tweet. Retweet is kind of like a repost. You are posting that on your profile as them, and you also can retweet with quote, and that is where you retweet what they've shared, and then you get to write a little synopsis about, wow, that's so cool, and kind of tag people that you might want to check it out. And then the like button, pretty self-explanatory. Your home, your search is really powerful if you're looking for a person or a hashtag. And that's why it's super important when you are making your account to make it pretty clear your first, last name, what school you're at, and things like that, so we can find you. Notifications, mine are normally red, so it's nice to look at this without those red notification button. And then that tells you who's interacted or if things have been going on while you were away. And then messages, you can privately message people that have public accounts. So if you do not have a public account, you can't be tagged in photos or given a private message. So as you're setting up your account, that's up to your discretion, but definitely if this is for professional reasons, I would keep those DMs open, because I get a lot of messages from teachers and principals and things through Twitter that they just see something and want that instant feedback, because sometimes it's difficult to remember to go back and email someone. So I like to have lots of lines of communication open.
Hey, Becca, I think that's important too, because I know on our team, I really want to celebrate the teachers in JCPS, and it's hard if they if they don't have that setting open, then we are unable to tag them, and then the message doesn't get further, right? So if several people are tagged in the photo and they retweet, more people are able to see that message or that resource that you're sharing out. So I'm constantly, encouraging people to turn on that setting.
Yes, very important. There's a couple people that I just tend to tag outside of. You can tag people who are private in a comment on something, but you can't tag them in photos or send them messages. So yes, I totally agree. Be public as long as you're not up to no good. So the other symbol or icon that I use a lot are lists. And I could go super in depth in this, but I just wanted to show you it as a resource. And then my lists, I have shared, or I've saved all my Zone Wonderful Estills. So I have put all of their handles or their accounts in a list. And then my old Klondike fam. And then I actually went to a training for 3D printing, and teachers came from all over Kentucky. And while we were in that training, I'm in the background finding them and searching for them on Twitter, because I did that so that if they're going to share what they're doing with their 3D printer in the future, I can get that quickly on my feed and have it sorted out. So I'm going to just show you guys really quick kind of what that looks like. And I'm in the wrong account. But when I go to my list and say, I want to know what my Estills are up to today, I can quickly click on that list. And actually, they also can follow it. So it looks like they have followed it. So they can look at each other and see what's going on. And I can look at everything that's going on that they have tweeted out and like it and check it out and give them kudos. Oh, I love Epic. So Amy Baker is going strong with that. Vanita, totally, yes. It's a really great day. If you're watching this, the Power of Pause, today is January 20th. So that's just what I use for those lists. You could do parents who follow you, ed tech that you like if you want to put your, what am I doing? Present. If you want to put Epic on there and Minecraft in one thing, people who are in your Minecraft training. I know Kathleen is going to host another Minecraft training soon. You could gather all those Twitter accounts of people that you're in that training with and share ideas through Twitter. So some JCPS accounts to follow. Obviously, that first at JCPS-KY is the main Jefferson County Public Schools account. And whenever there is an at in front of, I guess, a username, that is how you tag them, and that is how they're recognized. Now, if you notice, Mr. Marty right here is called at JCPS Super, but you can still search for Marty Polio, and he will come up, but that's just his username. Same with Carmen or Dr. Coleman, sorry, right here, she is at Kids Inspire. And then JCPS Forward, I think that is not run by Mimi anymore, but that they do the Twitter chats and things like that. So I will tell you more. Obviously, we want you guys to follow our account, the JCPS Dig In account, and see what we're doing, what we're sharing. We really try to find out what's going on in the state and in the country with trainings and things like that, and give you guys resources. Our really good friends, the CDLI team, also has an account, and they're also sharing. And then the last one for someone to follow for your quick start is obviously our backpack account. And they also have a hashtag that you can follow and use.
Hey, Becca, can you turn on your closed captioning again? Sorry, I forgot to remind you. You had it on, and then And then also,
Oh,
you said that about Dr. Polio, how his Twitter handle is at JCPS Super, but you can search for him under
mhm.
Marty Polio and it would also come up. I know for some people when you're on Twitter that is not the case.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
and I didn't know if you were aware of that, but sometimes like I know that one of my teachers is on Twitter and I can't find her or him.
Mhm.
And I don't know exactly the reasoning for that, but I'm thinking that it's because of maybe they didn't put their name when they set up the account. Maybe they put up the name
Yeah.
as, JCPS Super rather than Kathleen Receiver or Marty Polio. So
Mhm.
that's something to remember too with your account. And you can edit that account too, right? You can go in and edit your Twitter handle, or is that wrong?
I think you can do it I think it was like 3 months. You can do it, so you can't change it like every week or something to like stay private. But I think it was every 3 months you're allowed to change it. I'm gonna have to check up on that because I have wanted to change mine to my name, but there's a lot of Rebecca Reynoldses, and I don't really have many options.
Right. So
So
I
we'll
know,
have to look
I
into
think
that.
you're right. I know it's only so often. So you may not want to name it something different, such as first grade Miss Receiver, if I know next year I may be in third
Mhm.
grade. So that's just something, a little tip to think about too.
Yeah, I think I agree. My first account was Klondike Kindies, and I obviously didn't teach kindergarten for all my years. So that's really good advice is when you're picking out your name to something that's going to stick with you for a while. So another way to find accounts to follow or people to follow in JCPS is through our things to monitor that we tweet out. We are now working on this as an entire digital innovation team to bring you things from our instructional side and our technical side. And one thing we really love to do is celebrate educators and get you to follow them and see what they're doing. So this was from this week. And at Lassiter Library, her Girls Who Code Club made these really cool, I guess they're Bitmojis, but they're, I don't know, newer type of Bitmojis so that they had a little picture together, which I love during COVID. They can still virtually be together. And you can actually click on that and then it will instantly take you, we've linked it to their account. And it encourages you to share, check her out, and then use that hashtag JCPSDigIn so you can follow that. And also on things to monitor while I'm here, we've got videos from our digital innovation channel or our digital learning channel and just updates to stay on top. So we tweet that out every Monday unless we don't have school on Monday, so that you guys have that. So definitely check that out if you're looking for someone to follow. And then hashtags. So some hashtags that are used in JCPS. We are JCPS. And then We Are JCPS at Home has started since March. So those are kind of used intertwined right now during the pandemic. And then our hashtag is JCPS Dig In for the digital innovation team. So that's one that I follow on my tweet deck, which I'll show you soon. JCPS Backpack. I love checking that out and seeing what teachers and students are doing for their artifacts. Dr. Coleman loves checking out that hashtag and giving everyone some love. And then one that's Kentucky wide that we really like to do and share statewide is Kentucky Go Digital. And if you don't know what that is, go look up that hashtag once you get your Twitter account set up and see what's going on with them. So I'm going to go through how to follow, how to check the latest with these hashtags, and how to create kind of your own hashtag. So, and remind me to put my CCs on back when I try this again.
I will.
On my account, and I'll go through if we want to search. So say we want to search, just you can see my search, JCPS Dig In. When you search that, it's going to have top latest people, photos, and videos. I always like to click that latest so that it's in chronological order for what is happening live. The top ones usually will have cool stuff, but I want to see what's happening like 4 minutes ago. Someone's sharing about me, yay. And you can go into people and you can see who's added that hashtag to their account. So other people that you have the same interest in, go through, follow all of those people. Thank goodness I'm already following all of those people. But that's another way you can go through that. And you could go in a long haul of clicking through that. Now, in speaking of talking about making your own hashtag, Barker Fink Crew, well, their hashtag is best third graders in the district. And they have that on their account. And if we click on that, they use that for almost all of their tweets. So they have all their tweets just ready to go and organized. I kind of like to think of a hashtag as a conversation starter, an organization tool, just to share out more. We see ones like I Teach Math. So going through, you could go down the rabbit hole of clicking through those and checking out who else is teaching math. What are you guys using? So those are super great for extending your PLN and checking out new friends. And I think, is that all I said I was going to show? How to create your own hashtag. It's easy as just thinking of your own. So when I worked at Klondike, I would share out something about students, math time or something. And then our hashtag that we came up with was Klondike Fam. So if I type in Klondike Fam as the hashtag, it's going to turn blue, and that means that it is clickable. And you can check out other people who use that hashtag Klondike Fam. So if your school doesn't have one, I know we try to keep track of, as your digital innovation leaders, of your school's hashtags, so that when we tweet and we see something cool you're doing, we can use that hashtag and it can stay in that little bubble of, I guess, hashtags of sharing out things that you guys are doing. So there's that. So in keeping with the theme of JCPS and hashtags, one hashtag that I didn't mention yet is our JCPS chat. Now, this is run by JCPS Forward that I mentioned before to follow. And usually, I think maybe once a month, usually maybe every other month, there is a chat hosted by different people. So our team has hosted before, the CDLI team has hosted before. And this month, actually on Monday at 7:30, we're going to have the racial equity JCPS chat. And I'm going to just kind of show you how that kind of works really quick. And I think we have time. How that works, and encourage you to, once you get your Twitter set up, or if you already have one, to join us on Monday. So when a JCPS chat happens, it's a conversation with other people who are there at the same time. So they're going to go through, and JCPS Forward is going to tweet out questions, and then you're going to answer them using answer 1, answer 2. And if you use that hashtag JCPS chat, like I showed you before, when you make your answers, they're all going to be in the same location, and you can click on what's latest and look through there. And then I did say TweetDeck will help you keep on track during the chat. That's one thing that the Dig In team, before I was a part of it, showed me and really helped me stay organized. So this is kind of what it looks like. And so you can follow those hashtags and look at them simultaneously. So sometimes when we were hosting a chat, we would use our hashtag plus the JCPS chat hashtag, and it would get overwhelming. You can also schedule tweets for posts in the future if you have events going on, so we use it that way. But I'm going to open up JCPS chat really quick. And they're sharing. So I'm going to scroll down and maybe if we have like an old question. So here's an example. Good. From the last chat, it will come up as a question. And then as you can see, Miss Rachel down here, she answered it with A6, so answer 6. So she's answering that question. And she included that JCPS chat hashtag so that it's easy for everyone to follow. Now, what I do is I go through TweetDeck during a live chat, and I will check on what's happening with that hashtag at the same time so that I can quickly join those conversations of what's going on. So I can check out what Christy is doing and like it and comment. and join in on those rich conversations during JCPS chats. They're amazing. So let's find our presentation. CC's. Okay, so there was our chat, JCPS chat happening next, how to use TweetDeck. I could go more in depth with that, but this is our beginners course. So beginners, as we close up today, we still have 6 minutes. I encourage you to explore. Don't feel overwhelmed. Just find people who also teach where you teach, or leaders. Click those people that I said to follow above, and see what they're doing, see what they're sharing. Get inspired. I definitely get inspired every time I look on Twitter and see what people are sharing. And then follow people who follow you. I think it's super important that if someone is willing to follow you and is interested in what you're doing, they probably have super great things that they're sharing. So I always follow back when someone follows me. And then to make your tweets more interesting, add GIFs or photos or screenshots or different aspects of what's going on in your classroom. Definitely make sure that you have permission slips on hand if you are going to share out student photos. I know that a lot of our really great Twitter kings and queens out there will put little emojis over their face and like a black bar over their name, which is perfect so that you can still share out what you're doing without just hindering on their privacy. So the other thing that I went through was using and searching for those hashtags to start up that conversation. So one of the hashtags that we like to use on this team is sharing is caring. You might have this super great lesson that happened and move on with your day. But we really encourage you to show us what you've done, encourage us to see what you're doing. We want to invite you on the channel. We want you to be the star. And with Twitter, we have found so many JCPS stars out there. So it's really great to share what you're doing and tag, if you're using Minecraft, tag Minecraft, use the Minecraft hashtags. There's so much I could get into. So when you post a photo, or I don't think you can tag people in GIFs, but when you post a photo or a screenshot, tag your school, your principal, your teammates. And I encourage you to start that school hashtag like I did with Klondike Fam in my team, and who else? Barker and Fink, they have their own hashtag as well. So they're just, if you want to start from a beginner, here's some quick tips to do that. And then I have included for your students to make their own tweets, 2 templates. This one, they can pick their own photo if you want to do this. It's in Google Slides, and I got this just from a website. I did not make this, so I do not have rights. And they can make a tweet. So if you're working on response to reading and you want to have them write a tweet as a character in the story, like write a tweet as a big bad wolf, they have 280 characters to do so, and it really will encourage them to be smart with their words and create their own hashtag, like, I don't know, huff puff, blow your house down. I don't know what it would be, but I think that'll be fun for elementary. And then the other one that I included is one that would be from a news station, or they can change that, I guess, icon to anything. It could be from a TV show that they like, if they want to tweet something from Nickelodeon, or a local news station like WLKY, if they want to do something from there coming from someone they know. Or someone historical. George Washington makes a tweet. I would love to see that from a student perspective. Okay, we have 2 minutes. And so, as I said, my messages are open on Twitter. Send me a message. I get it quick on my phone, and I can help you through whatever you need. And there's my email as well. And another reminder to join us at the JCPS chat Monday at 7:30. And join our conversation. And as Miss Heather Worrell says, fly closer to the sun and try something new. And then there's my Twitter link there for you guys to follow.
Awesome.
Stop sharing.
Thank you so much, Becca, for that. Great information and advice for others. And if you already, maybe you knew some of these things, but you know someone that you're really trying to get on Twitter, you'll be able to send them the link to this video on our YouTube channel, JCPS, where you are now, digitallearning.com. And then they have the power of pause to watch it on their own. So thank you again.
Thank you.
All right. So we have a couple of exciting things up for you next on our schedule. The first one, we have engaging students with smart gamification. And I'm really excited about that one as it speaks closely to my heart. I love the SMART product. And here in JCPS, we have Smart Learning Suite Online as a tool that we can use. It was purchased for us this year by the district. So this is a tool that all of our teachers can be using and should be using with their students. And then after that, we will have Nearpod this afternoon at 2:00 with my colleagues as well, Matt Bulka and Danielle Washburn, and also Oliver from Pear Deck, Nearpod will be joining us as well. And I think, Amy, are you here with us now?
Can you hear me?
I sure can.
Okay, good. Okay. It kept showing that it was muted, but I wasn't sure if you guys could hear me or not. Yes, I am here, and we're actually working right now to get Kim Perillo on.
Okay.
She's going to actually be doing the demo, but she's having some trouble.
Okay.
She's just getting a black screen when she goes into the Hangout. So.
Oh, there she is.
Oh, awesome. Perfect.
My computer.
It happens to the best of us.
Perfect.
No worries. No worries. No stress.
I've never seen that
Awesome.
before.
Well, yeah. For some reason, we have a little bit of trouble when we try to get on Hangout. So, So no, good. We're good.
Okay.
And so Kim is here. She's going to show you guys. Kathleen had asked about gamification.
Yep.
And so that's what we're going to cover. And so this is Kim Perillo. She is my manager. She lives in Ohio, and she knows lots and lots and lots of good stuff about Smart Learning Suite Online. So she agreed to join us today, and she's just going to kind of give you guys the lowdown on games and kind of how to apply them to different grades. So feel free, if you have questions, jump in. If you have questions afterward, absolutely email me, and I will answer them, as they come in. So Kim, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Okay, perfect. And am I able to share my screen?
Yes.
Yes, I see. Sorry, I've used Hangouts a long time ago, and then I've used Google Meet since. And
I know it's a little different, yes, but we like to have the pictures across the bottom of our presenters. So, yeah.
No problem. Totally understand. Okay, so hopefully you're seeing that.
Yep.
Yeah, all right. Okay. All right, awesome. So thank you so much for having me today. I believe this is being recorded. Is that correct?
Yes, it is. Mm-hmm.
Okay, perfect. So I will ask once we get to the gamification part that if the two of you don't mind kind of acting as my students, if that is possible, because then it will help me demonstrate some of the games that I'll be showing today. And then Amy, if you, if there's any chat questions or anything like that, or feel free to come off mute if there's any questions along the way.
Sure thing.
Perfect. Okay. So from what I understand, you've already gone through how Smart Learning Suite Online works with the Google application. And so I just wanted to reiterate how you would get into that. So I'm just going to put this in full screen so you can see this a little more clearly. Essentially, what you're doing is you can open up your Google Drive, and you would be able to access Smart Learning Suite directly from Google Drive. And you can do that in a couple ways. You can go to the 9 dots in the upper right-hand corner and access it there, or go to the plus symbol, scroll down to more, and then you would be able to see Smart Learning Suite there. And essentially what that does is it will open up the Smart Learning Suite Online app. So then you can start locating the gamification activities that I will show you today. And you can either create one from scratch there, or as an alternative, you can add one game into a file that you're already creating and building. And so I'll reference that here shortly again. And then as another piece or a review piece here, again, once you open up the Smart Learning Suite online app, one of your choices here will be the game-based activity that you can choose from. There are 11 templates to choose from. We will look at just about every single one of them during this hour. And I've got examples of each one, and then I'll quickly show you how to build each one as well. Again, as a reminder, when you do open up and click on the game-based activity templates, each template, all 11 of them, have a little magnifying glass symbol in the upper right-hand corner. And when you click on that, you would be able to get a preview of what each game looks like. So if you aren't really sure, like, oh, I don't know, game show might sound fun, but I don't really know what that even means. And if you forget along the way, that's totally normal and fine. All you have to do is go to the preview icon, and then it will give you a little video that you can watch, and it will give you a preview of what that game can do. And essentially, that's what I'm going to be doing today anyways, give you examples of each one, and then again, showing you a quick tutorial on how to build a game within each template. All right, and then at the end, we're going to talk about, well, where can I go for ones that are already built? And that's going to be the Smart Exchange. So we're going to, briefly talk about that at the end. So I'm going to go ahead and exit out of my presentation here, and I'm going to go back into my Google account. So hopefully you can see all of this. So sorry, I had to close down when I was restarting my computer. So let me just reopen, but this will actually give me an opportunity to show you the workflow in live here. So again, if I wanted to access Smart Learning Suite online, I would just go to, I used to call it my waffle, but now it's 9 dots. And you can scroll down and look at Smart Learning Suite here. And then if you don't choose to do it that way, you could always go to your Google Drive, and you can access it a couple ways again from here. You could go to the plus symbol where it says new, scroll down to more, and then see Smart Learning Suite here. And then as a third alternative, I know that you guys are really big on using Google applications, whether it's docs, sheets, slides, all of that good stuff to make very interactive and good content there for your students. Let's say if you wanted to add a game to a Google slide deck, what you could do is right-click on that slide deck and choose Open with Smart Learning Suite. So all of these workflows will take you to the same spot, essentially. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to go ahead and open up Smart Learning Suite online. And it will open up in a new tab, and it will give you the option, well, probably because I restarted my computer, it's asking me to sign in again. So as a teacher, what you would do is go to Teacher Sign In, click on your Google account there, your credentials, which should already be saved, and then it will just log you in to Smart Learning Suite online. And forgive me, this had been all opened already, but
it's okay. Some of our teachers may need a refresher on that part anyway, so it works.
You never know, right? Technology is always, can definitely be helpful, but sometimes needs to be just restarted. So, okay, so here I'm in my library of lessons. You can see all of the options here for my library of lessons. And once again, to access the game-based learning templates that we're gonna focus in on today, you would go to the Add Activities plus symbol, and then here we are, Game-Based Activities. And click on that, and then you'll see the, again, the preview icon that I was mentioning before. So when you click on the preview, it pulls up this quick little video that will allow for you to see and what the students would see, how their point of view would look. And then it tells you at the bottom a little description of what it does, and then it tells you how many themes are available. And I really like to point out that there are lots of themes that can be geared towards 6 through 12. I know that's our focus for this particular call. So like, for example, this theme right here, doesn't really have any of the backdrops or any of those images in the back. It's just the content, okay? So you can see the difference between that theme and this theme, this underwater theme, okay? So with that being said, let's dive right into some of these games. So what I'm going to do is actually go back. I'm going to exit out of here, and I'm going to go back to my library. And what I have here is I have a file that I created that has examples of all of these games. So what I thought I would do is look at an example, and then we'll talk about how you would build that example. So you would see the example first from the student point of view, and then you will see it from the teacher's lens on how to build that example. Okay, so the first one we're going to go through, I kind of went in order of how you would find the games. So I started with fill in the blanks. And I try to find examples and create examples that would be geared towards the 6 through 12 environment. I was an actual high school teacher myself. I taught economics and government to juniors and seniors most of my career. So I totally understand. You don't want something that's too elementary for the students. In some cases, it may be appropriate, but in a lot of cases, it isn't. So let's look at some of these geared towards the secondary level. So this is the fill in the blanks. I'm going to go ahead and click on start. So you're going to see what the students would see. And you can see this is an example of the prologue of Romeo and Juliet. So what I did here was I typed in the first few lines of the prologue, and then I was able to take away the words that I thought were important for the students to understand in order to understand this these Shakespeare lines. So for example, what the students would do is they would drag and drop the items into the appropriate category. The teacher can decide how the student is going to receive the information back. So for example, I have it set where if they're wrong, it gets pushed away. If it's accepted, then it will look like this. So for example, in Fair Verona, this is the setting here. So you can see that it will get a check mark if they're correct, okay? And I believe Lovers is here. Nope, that's wrong. Star-Crossed Lovers, sorry. You would think I would have no short-term memory problem because I just made this last night. And they take their own life. So you can see that. Now, the idea here is for them to play the game as many times as they want. So you can see when they're all done with the game, they're going to get a reset option. But even if they're not completely done, you have a reset option on the left-hand side. So the other piece of this is I could share this out to my students immediately. So if the two of you wanted to kind of join this really quick, you could go to hellosmart.com. And then you can enter in my join code 41817. You would join as a guest in this particular instance, and then you would be able to see the game in front of you. Okay, so, and I will ask for you to probably participate in a little bit. You don't necessarily have to right now, but I just thought I would enter that there for you. So fill in the blanks. So how do we create this? So I'm gonna go back to Smart Learning Suite Online. And I'll go back to my library like I showed you before. And this time I will not close it out. We'll make sure it stays open so we can go back and forth a little easier. And then I'm going to go to add activities. And then you're going to see the game-based activities right here. And so your first one that we're looking at is the fill in the blanks. So if I want to create this from scratch, I would go to fill in the blanks. And then I would just start typing my information. So as I start typing my information, it will tell you how many characters you have remaining. And then once you've typed all your paragraph or your lines of information, you can create up to 10 blanks. So for example, you can always come back here and edit the text, which say I'm done with that, but I want to define the blanks now. So you will click on define blanks. And then you can click on the word that you want to take away as the vocabulary term that the students will put into the appropriate space. So it's super easy. You just type your words out and then take away the ones that you want the students to identify. And then over here on the right-hand side, you have to decide, well, how are my answers going to be checked? So when prompted, meaning when when you put everything in place and then that it will check? Or do you want it to be instant? So like you just saw me do when I put the word in place, and if it was wrong, it bounced it away. Or do you not want it to be checked at all? So those are your options, okay? So that's how fill in the blanks would work, okay? That would be fill in the blanks. I'm gonna go ahead and discard this one, but that's how that one would work. So let's look at another one. So I'm gonna reload this guy. I apologize for the back and forth. Maybe what we'll do is just we'll re-edit this lesson, so then that way it won't load so many times. All right, and let's look at the next one. The next one is well, what I identify as a choice board. But what this is flip out. This is where you're going to have 6 cards, and the teacher can define this, what content is on the front versus what content is on the back. So a lot of times, traditionally, teachers would use this for vocabulary terms. So you'd have a vocabulary term on the front, definition on the back. You could definitely use it like that. But what I've done here is a way to kind of use it in a little bit of a different manner for 6 through 12 grades, is to use it as a choice board. So meaning the students have to pick pictures. So in this case, we're talking about human cells, and they have to complete one of these tasks. So in this case, when they turn these 2 over, they can either create a quiz on the cells or write a rap song or poem that describe the organelles in the cell. You can do a parody, a rap, or create your own. So that gives the students, with different varying abilities and different likes and, different ways to show that they understand the content, it gives them a choice. So that's one example. And the other examples here, this will give them, 3 more choices. So they just have to pick one per alike image. So here, create a simile or metaphor. Here, define 3 words, or create an analogy. So again, gives them the choice. Now, you may even give them additional pages within the lesson to create this content, but again, that's going to be up to you. It's just using one of these game templates to help start the next activity. So by using it as a choice board. All right, so what I thought I would do is kind of show you how that would work. Again, you can still use it in your traditional way, where you use it maybe for vocabulary terms on the front, definitions on the back, and there's nothing wrong with that. But as you can see here, you have a choice. You can use it for images, or you can use it with text, which is really kind of handy. So let's go back into editing the lesson. So then that way, I don't have to keep going back from tab to tab. We'll just edit the lesson and then restart. So in this case, I'm gonna go to the plus symbol, and I'm gonna add a new flip out. So I'm going to go to game-based activities, and then here is my second game that I've been showing you. So here's flip out, and this is how it would work. So what are you going to do for facing up, and what are you going to do for facing down? So for example, let's say we are going to do it in a traditional way. So I want to define economics, and then over here, let's say choices. Oops. I know it's a little bit more wordy than this, but it all comes down to choices. So let's talk about economics here. Here's your vocabulary term, and then here's your definition. And then maybe we'll do needs and wants would be our next one. So needs, item needed to survive, and then item not needed to survive. Okay, and then you've noticed that I do have the option to add images instead. Now, traditionally, how it works right now is you would have to have that image saved or stored somewhere on your device in order to pull that image in. But starting on February 8th, Smart Learning Suite Online is getting an update, and you will be able to actually pick from a library of images. We're going to use the Bing image search in order for teachers to do that. So I'm really excited for that change to come. 'em. And then what you would do is just hit next, and then you pick your theme. So here, Again, you can use one of the fancier themes, or you can just pick a simple layout here. So if you just pick simple, and then it will finish, and then you can get a preview of what that looks like. So again, you can just always flip these over, and you can do up to, I believe it was 6. All right, so let's go ahead, let's finish editing there, and let's go back to the lesson library that I created here of games, and let's go on to the next one. So the next one is going to be Game Show. Game Show, there's 2 items within the game-based activity templates that really are needed to play against an opponent. So Game Show is one of them. So it really is a great way if you probably not during social distance times, but if you're sharing an iPad or sharing a laptop, or if you're up at a smart board, it's a great way to compete with a fellow student or group of students. Like if I were teaching this and using Game Show, it probably would have used it to review for a test or an exam. And it's a great way to review the content and then also make it a little competitive. Now, it doesn't mean a student couldn't play this alone. It just would be, of course, a little bit more fun to compete against another student. So let me show you how this works. Game Show uses true, false, and multiple choice questions. And you probably hear my music there. They have to spin the wheel. So say team 1 will go first. And then they have to identify the appropriate answer here. And I believe it was Johnson. Yes. For the first president to be impeached. And then the next team can go and spin the wheel. Okay, and they get a little star there. Click the power up to find out what you've got. So it tells you, you're supposed to click on that. All right, it's not letting me click on that yet. Wait, click on it after we spin. There we go. So which president made the decision to drop the atomic bomb on Japan? So let's say we pick an answer there, and then they can continue. So you kind of get the idea there. You're competing against each other, true, false, and multiple choice questions there, and then they get points along the way. Now let's see how that is created. So I'm going to go ahead and edit the lesson. And this time what I'm going to do again is go to the little plus symbol and go to game-based activities. And then here is Game Show. So again, I mentioned that there are 2 games in this template library that are best for competition against another student or group of students, and that would be Game Show and Speed Up. So we'll look at both of those. But here's Game Show. And then really, it's really straightforward here. You select your question type and you decide what your question is going to be. So you enter in your question and then you decide what the answers are going to be. And if you want the answer to be B, it will do that. You can always change it to C, A, B, C, or D. It does not matter. And then you just keep adding your questions there, and you can choose from multiple choice and true, false. So again, great tool to use when you're reviewing for a test or a quiz. All right, so let's go ahead and go back. Got a few more to look at for sure. The next one we're going to look at is called Label Reveal. So let's go to the next one. I have a couple examples on this one because I couldn't decide. I liked both of these. Label Reveal allows for a teacher to put an image on the background on the template. And then what they can do is they can add as many labels as they want. So I've used this as a task board in this particular example. So here are your directions. So choose at least 3 tasks to complete. You can earn an extra surprise for doing the bonus. So let's go ahead and look. So each one has to do with parts of this plant or flower. So here's the stem. And maybe you're like, oh gosh, I don't know much about the stem. Let's see what the others are. So here's research the different parts of a flower. You can sketch, label, and define each part. Here's information of what I would like for you to do when researching the leaf. And then one more, this is going to be about the root. And then of course down here, you've got your bonus item. So again, students are supposed to complete 3 out of these 4 tasks. So this is more of a science related item, but think of how else you could use this. You could use this, maybe you've got parts of the earth, parts of the earth's crust, maybe you have the image there, or maybe, you know, a volcano, so parts of a volcano, or and you know, layers of a rock or something like that. So you know, I was even thinking if we're teaching about you know, medieval times, maybe I would have a medieval castle on here, and I identify like what a moat is versus you know, what do people do at the top of the castle when they're like, you know, trying to defend the castle, that kind of thing. So it's, there's many ways to use this. So let's look at another example. This is more of an English example where you are trying to identify writing choices for your students, like to come up with. So again, you could have added directions here and said, you know, I want you to pick 2 out of these multiple options for writing choices. Or maybe we do 1 per day or something like that. But here is one about, you know, writing a letter or a story. And it just gives you some of these writing prompts to help with that. So that's another example. So let's go back and as we go back into editing mode, and we'll look at how easy it is to create this particular one. And again, like I mentioned before, on February 8th, you'll be able to pick images from a library of images, which I absolutely love that's an option.
That's really exciting.
Coming.
That's exciting.
Yes.
And I think what I did too, Kim, is I would look at even, and I know you're going to show that here in a little bit, but the Smart Exchange, and then get kind of ideas from what teachers have done there, and then apply it to my grade level or content that, you know, I was teaching. So.
Yeah, I did that. And that's exactly where I went to for some of these examples, because I'm like, you know, I taught social studies. Sometimes I'm so blind to social studies examples that I need to go and, you know, beef it up a bit and look for more.
Sure.
So I agree with you. Sometimes it's easier to edit what other people have started. So love that. So yeah, so here is label reveal. So what you would do is, you could browse your images here, and I apologize. So let's say I've got my little dog here, not very educational related, but we could do parts of an animal here. And what you can do, you can always change the image, of course. But what you can do is just click within the image, and then you enter the text here. So here's paw. And then I believe I can drag this guy. Yeah. So we'll enter in even more notes. So, you know, if I needed more additional notes there, I could do that. I can always delete it if I need to. And then you can always drag the points if you need to. So sometimes it's easier to stay outside of the picture and then, you know, do it that way. And then you can drag over to the eye. So it's kind of, you know, wherever you want the labels to go. And of course, if you mess up, you can always delete your label, and then, you know, you can delete everything if you need to. So I'm going to go ahead and just discard that. And then we'll look at some more examples. Let's go back into finish editing. And these are always some really fun ones. So let's go. This is a template that you actually will only find, meaning theme. I should say theme, not template. The superheroes theme is only found in Smart Learning Suite Online. So I love that they've added some additional themes here to pick from. So this one is a match 'em up activity. This is a math example. So, for example, the idea here is to solve for n or for x in some of these cases, and then you have to match them up with the appropriate answer. So in this case, we put the matches to the backs of the superheroes, and if it's correct, it will move to the top here, and then they celebrate, you know. But let's see if they're wrong. Oh, that was right. Sorry. I need to pay more attention to this. Okay. There we go. If they're wrong, it gets pushed away. So then they are like, you know, then they get thrown up in the air. But that's just, you know, and then the student can try again. So I like the fact I personally tend to set these up where the students get the answers right away. And then they can check again. But again, it's up to the teacher. Whatever their objective is, that's okay. So I'm going to go ahead. I can reset this. I can play as many times as I need to. Obviously, I've got a couple students in here, which are great. And so, hopefully you're checking it out as well. Let me make sure. Yep. So, okay. I wasn't sure. I've added a couple examples of a few of these, but this wasn't one of them. So I'm going to go back into edit the lesson. And then this one's pretty easy to do, to identify and create. So let's go into plus symbol, game-based activities. And this time we're doing match them up. So match them up, again, you could do text or images. So let's go back to that Romeo and Juliet prologue, and let's do a Shakespeare match them up. So story fact, and then matching story fact here. So what I would do is, okay, who's the author of Romeo and Juliet? And then, so let's put Shakespeare. And then setting, what was the setting of the story? So hopefully they know that one. And then maybe, I don't know, I could keep going, but let's maybe do, okay, Romeo's family, family name. And that was the Montagues. And then again, decide check answers. Do you want it to be instant when they make the match, or do you want them to make all their matches and then they find out what they, what they got right or wrong? So again, you can decide that. So I'm going to go ahead and hit next, and you can pick a theme again. Depending on the grade level, depending on the teacher's objective, you may just stick with the simple theme. In this case, I kind of think the dragon one might be a little appropriate. It seems Shakespearean to me in a way, I don't know. And then what we can do is look at preview, and we can check it out to make sure it is the way we wanted it to be. So Romeo, Montague, and then we can just, play the game and make sure, yeah, we're good here. And the knight is fighting the dragon, and then they ride off into the sunset. So perfect. So awesome job there. So let's go ahead and finish editing. Let's look at our next example. Let's see. All right. And the next example is rank order. This is actually one of my favorite ones. I feel like I could have used this a lot if I was still teaching, and not so much to check for 100% accuracy, but I would have used it probably to see how students felt about certain items. And I'll explain here in a minute, but let's first look at the game. So I'm going to go ahead and hit start. And what this does is this will rank items in the order of your choosing. So in this case, the students are solving for X, essentially. They're solving the math expression, and they're finding the answer. And then they have to rank the answer from the lowest number to the highest number, or least to greatest. Okay, so and the teacher can decide what this is going to look like. So for example, like the example I was going to mention before was social studies. If we're talking about like why the United States entered into World War I, let's say, we might be talking about multiple reasons of why that's happened, but maybe I want to find out from the students what they think was most important. So maybe I would put here most important reason to least important reason. So again, the students just have to rank, as needed. And so in this case, I'm just kind of doing this here at random. But in this case, the students have to complete all of the ranking, and then they check. So I only got 2 right. So I need to redo this one and then try again. But again, the idea here is this one might take a little longer for the students to complete because they have to solve all of these math equations first. Okay, so that's definitely a good way to use or incorporate this into a math lesson. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to go back, and I'm going to, again, edit this lesson, but I think I might have had, yeah, okay, so speed up is next. So let's go ahead and edit this lesson. And we'll talk about the other way to use it, because you don't necessarily have to have a right or wrong answer with rank order, which I kind of like that idea. You know, it really kind of gives you that insight of what the students were thinking, or it's a good conversation starter. You also could use it if you are putting, excuse me, facts or sequence of a story into order. So I really like that idea too. Like with Romeo and Juliet, what happened first in the story? You know, so it would be like a nice review after we've read that, the prologue, or after we've read the story. So I'm going to go ahead and go to my plus symbol again, game-based activities. We'll go to rank order. And then you, again, this is where you have to do a couple of decisions here. You have to, you know, first decide what are your ranking labels. So if I do most important, spell it right, to least important, let's say I'm using that social studies example. Oh dear. Okay. And then do you see this option where it says don't check? So meaning that there's no right or wrong answer. So for example, you know, a lot of the reasons why World War I started as, you know, some of these here. But really I'd want to find out what my students are thinking. You know, do they think nationalism was one of the main starts of the war, or most important reason? Or do they think it was militarism? What do they think? So it's a great item to use as a conversation starter. Maybe do this as a bell ringer activity and then dive right into your content. So just a thought there. So that is rank order. And again, you can use text, and starting February 8th, you'll be able to search for images to use. Otherwise, if you have images saved purposefully on your computer, you can bring those in too. All right, so I'm going to discard that one, and let's go to our next one. You'll notice that I did skip Monster Quiz, and the reason why I did is because we're going to actually look at an example of Team Quiz instead, because I do think that that is geared more towards the secondary grades. All right, so this next one is, again, this is similar to what we talked about with Game Show. This is called Speed Up, and Speed Up is really intended for really you could play with one, but it really would be intended from 1 to 4 students or groups of students. So what in non-COVID times, I normally would think of this as I divide my class into 2. You know, we would get in lines, and then they would take turns answering the questions as more of like a fun way to study for an exam or a test at the end of a unit or something. So I'm going to go ahead and hit start. And then you have to decide, again, how many racers. If you are connected to an interactive flat panel, one of our newer smart boards, you can play up to players. When you're not connected, it only gives you the option to play with 2 players. So let's say I'm playing with 2. You do have to pick your character. And I'm sorry if it's a little noisy. You can hear that. I'm not sure if the sound's coming through, but you can see the cars go around the track. And then once they go around the track, you're going to get a question. So how often does a frog shed its skin? And then I don't know, let's just pick this. Then each team has to decide, oh, we got them both wrong. Okay. And then you kind of get the idea. So as they play, it's kind of a competition of who gets it accurate and how quickly they get it accurate. Let's just do one more question. All right. So what gram of toxin, I believe, if I remember right, let's just do. All right. So A, the cow wins that one. All right. All right. So we'll go ahead and reset that. But it's kind of, again, a fun way to review. Again, a player can play alone, of course, no problem. So during, the COVID social distancing time, maybe that's the best route that you'll take. But again, it's a fun way. So in order to create that, it's very similar back to referencing back to the game show piece. You can use true, false questions and multiple choice questions. And I believe they're adding the ability to add in images. I had some notes with some of the updates coming. And I believe, yes, you'll be able to add images to the questions for Game Show and Speed Up. So that's February 8th. So that's pretty cool. So again, going back to editing the lesson, we'll just take a quick look at how to create Speed Up. Go to game-based learning templates again, and go down to Speed Up. And then again, you're acting, let's just do true, false this time. So, you can type in your question here. I'll just do snakes are cold-blooded. And that would be true. Now, if it was false, you can always change it to false, no problem. And you can add multiple questions here. So again, very easy to do that. And you can intermix true, false, and multiple choice questions between this. And it only is the one template. So, you do have to do that. You can decide, is there going to be a time limit per question? And if so, how long is that going to be? So if you want it to be super quick for them to answer in between questions, it can be 10 seconds. So you can decide that. So I like that fact. And then you, of course, can finish, and the program does everything else for you. All right. So let's finish editing there, and we have a few more to look at. All right, Supersort. Supersort is, Supersort was one of our first games that we released in the desktop version of Smart Notebook. So it's been around for quite a long time. So that's probably the one you're gonna see the most on the Smart Exchange when you do search for some of these activities. But Supersort, so let's go ahead and start that one. It allows for you to create 2 categories, and you have to move items into the appropriate category. So in this case, I used a high school social studies example here. This is probably for US history. And the New Frontier represents JFK and his programs, and then Great Society represents LBJ and his programs. So you have to identify what happened. Is it part of the New Frontier, or is it part of the Great Society? So under which presidency, essentially. So if you get it right, it accepts it. If it's wrong, it will bounce it away. Okay, so again, multiple themes within Supersorts, but this is just one of those examples. So let's look about how to build that. And again, there's many themes in there, but let's take a look. Let's go into Edit Lesson. And at first, I remember thinking, oh, how can I make this, secondary? It seems so elementary, but really it's not. You can see like those were not the easiest questions there. So
no, and I think too, Kim, if teachers have this, as part of their lesson as they're going through, and it gives kids the chance to stop and interact a little bit, like I think that alone helps. But you're right, the examples that you're giving aren't all elementary at all.
Yeah, I agree. And, again, it's just all about how you use it, right?
Right.
And just like you said, and it's more to reinforce the learning that's already been done and just to do like that extra practice. So I really wouldn't discount any of these, and I remember even whenever, like I always played Jeopardy to review for tests and quizzes and exams with my students, and they loved it. Like if for some reason I didn't do a Jeopardy game before an exam, they were mad at me.
Right,
So
because it's competition. Like many kids
Yeah.
like to, a little bit of competition.
Absolutely.
And so.
Yeah, I totally agree. And, and even the monster quiz, if you guys get sick of the team quiz, go back and use the monster quiz. It's the same concept, just different theme. So we're going to go to Supersort. And this is where you would do your category name. And then you, again, entering text or images here. So again, you're going to kind of see as teachers start to use this, you're going to be like, oh my gosh, these templates are so easy to fill out. They don't take a lot of time. You just have to think about what your objective is. So, and you can see there was a mixture of images and text in that last example. So again, you can just, type those in, and then everything else is done for you. So for time purposes, I'm just going to do odd and even numbers. I know it's not very secondary here, but for time, I'm just going to do that because I want to spend a little bit longer time on the team quiz. So I'm going to do even, and let's do 4, 6. Okay, and then we hit next. This is what I wanted you to see. So you would be able to see you have different options here. I don't know. For a long time, I always picked pirates. Just thought it was fun. But again, you're going to get sick of some of these. But what I like is you have the ability to customize your Supersort. So meaning if, I don't know, if you're really big into, like, I love like college basketball. So my, favorite team is University of Cincinnati Bearcats. So, and I know we probably have a lot of UK fans down there. So, so what you could do is you could even customize, based on the theme of your choosing. Of course, you have to have the images there. But once after February 8th, you could be able to pull in more images from the Bing image search. So again, that's always an option. You can always customize.
That just makes it so much easier, than having to download the picture and upload.
Yes.
I think that I would hope teachers would be more apt to use it that way. So that's awesome.
I totally agree with you. And we were on a call on Friday. We always get updates every other Friday from our product managers. And when they released this update, everyone was like, woohoo, we were
Sure.
all like super excited. And by the way, another update that's coming is you'll be able to add questions or a title to shouted out activities.
Okay.
So that one is a real big one too. So we were happy about that.
Awesome.
Yeah, so anyway, so you can customize that. Let's just, finish this one. We'll preview real quick. Again, just to show you real quick how easy it is to customize. And again, I did my, my little pirate theme, but you could always do one of the other themes as well. So, all right, so we'll exit out of that one. And then finally, this is where I do need a little bit of participation, if you don't mind.
Sure.
This is where we have the team quiz. So I'm going to go ahead. First, let's talk about the team quiz is about the same thing as Monster Quiz, meaning it's just a different theme. The team quiz will allow for you to compete against other teams to answer multiple choice and true false questions. So I'm going to go ahead and start this for the class. Let's see, we've got a few people in. Yeah, we got all 3 people in. Awesome. So let's divide you into teams. So let's just do 2 teams, Team Green and Team Teal. So instead of it being by monsters, like the Monster Quiz does, it does it by colors. So we'll go ahead and start the quiz. There's only 3 questions there. If you get a question wrong, it will repeat, and with one of the questions will be crossed out.
Oh my goodness, I have no idea.
I know.
Me neither. So I'm totally guessing. Oh, I've gotten 2 wrong.
You're a hard social studies teacher.
I know, right? I just thought they were fun little questions.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, I missed them all.
Oh, that's okay. Which is nice because now you can go and repeat.
Oh,
there you go, Amy.
I got one
see.
right.
Yeah.
Sorry, Amy. I'm struggle bus here.
I can't. Oh, no, I'm not doing well either. I'm not doing well.
I like how it marks them out, though. That's the worst whenever you
Exactly.
don't know the answer. And as a kid, like trying to.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Woohoo.
There's Kathleen.
I got
There
one.
you go.
Oh my
Woohoo.
gosh. I'm doing I'm going to have 1 answer left.
City
Oh my
monster.
gosh.
I know. I did the same
I guess
thing.
3. I guess 3, and literally, there's only 1 left. That's pretty bad. I only have 1.
No, it's okay.
I don't know how many. I don't know.
So Team Teal, you won. Great job there.
Woohoo.
How did we win? Because I missed them all.
Because we got them before Team Green.
I guess so. I guess.
And she may not be in. I told the team to join earlier, so she may have
Oh, that's
joined and
okay.
forgot
Yeah,
about
no
it. So
worries.
you go ahead.
and end.
Yeah.
I'll go ahead and end it. No worries. I just wanted to show you real quickly that the review that you can review for this. So you can kind of see a class review, and you can see where people struggled with this, where India was the correct answer, but it looks like China was also guessed here. And then you can review all of the questions here, which is really nice.
And I can see it on
And
my
I think-
end too as the student, so that's nice as well.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. So again, the intent is to review the content after it's been taught. It's just a fun way to do that. And again, this can be done, social distance, of course. And of course, like we are now, we're remote. So lots of options there for team quiz. So team quiz and monster quiz are the same. So meaning they get set up the same. So if I go back and edit this lesson, I can go and go into the plus symbol, game-based activities. And again, I've got two options: monster quiz, which will be the monster theme where the monsters break out of boxes as the team is winning. And team quiz, as you can see, it's kind of like a big circle, and it just, your circle gets filled up as the team is winning. So it kind of depends on what you prefer. The monster quiz, I will tell you, as the seasons change and the holidays go by, like there was a Christmas theme, there was a Halloween theme, the monsters wear different clothes. Again, probably a little bit more elementary, but just it gives you an option. You know, maybe the 6th grade classes might like that one. But anyway, so here, same concept here. You can do a, true, false, multiple choice, that sort of thing. And it works very similar to how we created Game Show and Speed Up. You just can add as many, you can add multiple questions here. And then you just hit next and it will complete the template for you. So that is pretty much all of the games. Let's go back and just take a look. The only one I did not include was Memory Match. And the reason why is I do really think that one is more geared towards the elementary. I do have an example for you. I'm not the biggest fan of it, I will tell you, but I do have an example for you that I can show. But all the others, I feel like they can definitely be customized to fit the secondary environment, for sure. So let's go ahead there. Let's go back to, let's close out of that one. And I will show you real quick the Memory Match. Just so I don't want you to think, oh my gosh, why'd she skip that one? I do want to show it to you. You can do 1 or 2 players, and they can compete. This again is the Romeo and Juliet facts, and they have to just turn over the right card. So again, it's, matching, but you're really just guessing. Do you know what I mean? Like you're really just guessing the 2 matches there. Okay. But anyway, I wanted to make sure that I showed you that just in case you wanted to take a look at that one. And then going back to Google Drive, want to right click again onto, I know probably a lot of your teachers are using Google Slides. If you wanted to open this with a Smart Learning Suite. And then what you can do is enhance a lesson that you already have created. So in this case, this is about the Industrial Revolution. And if I wanted to add a game in between my slides, I can certainly do that. And the best way to do that is to right click, open with Smart Learning Suite. And then once we get to the editing page, you will be able to add any of those games that we just talked about. All right. So while we're waiting for that to load, are there any questions at all at this point?
I don't think any questions. I do have a question once you get going with this, but I didn't want to ask too early with
Sure.
something that I have.
Sure.
But just to say that we have a few middle school and high school people that are watching, and then also these are all recorded and they go on our channel.
Perfect.
And I have a smart playlist, so it'll go inside there, and we refer to them and tweet out these videos throughout the school year. So thank you so much for being here. But the one
Sure.
question I have, and I don't know if it's possible, but I'll let you go ahead and talk, and then we'll see if you answer it for me.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no problem. So let's say I wanted to do like a quick little game to reinforce what we've already talked about with the Industrial Revolution. I can decide where it's going to go. So for example, if I wanted to go after slide 2, I would just click on slide 2, go to the plus symbol, and then again, choose one of my games here to complete. And, you would just follow the prompts on how to complete that particular game. And then once the game is already done, say page 3 was the game, you can reorder them to, wherever you want in the lesson. So I just wanted to kind of just walk you through that quick little flow if you're trying to enhance something that you've already made. Otherwise, you could certainly start from scratch, like we were showing before. But so go ahead and if you want to ask.
So I guess my question is, when I did this, I try to use this when I'm training teachers to show them, the content I'm training plus this awesome tool. And one thing, if I find something in Smart Exchange that's already been created and I want to use that, I can't do it that way. When I click on the plus button, I have to.
Right.
Okay.
However, February 8th,
Yay.
you'll be able to, I believe it's February 8th, and it may be a little bit later. Let me verify that, you guys, and
Sure.
I'll let you know for sure. But there, on our roadmap is going to be the ability to merge two resources together. So just like what you're talking about. So
Good.
like if you had something already created, it's already in Smart Learning Suite Online, and you have something else that you found, you would be able to merge those two together. So that is coming. So
Okay, good.
That's a great
I looked
question.
and looked for it, and then I'm also a well, what's it called now? A C, and I didn't see it on there
yeah.
on our thing. So okay,
No,
that's
you
good to
didn't,
know.
you didn't miss anything. That has been something that we've been, wanting to happen, and our product developers are listening.
I'm sure.
And they're going to make that happen.
Okay,
Yes,
awesome.
yes.
Is there a way that Amy can? Is Amy allowed to share like that? What's coming out February 8th with me?
Absolutely.
That'd be great.
Absolutely.
Okay, thanks.
Yes. I believe, Amy, I think I sent you an email with that list on there. But if I didn't, we can create that list for you.
Awesome.
so
Thank you. That'd be great
yeah.
to share with our teachers. Thanks.
Absolutely. Yes. Yes. Because I believe it has what's coming out February 8th, and then there's a list of what's coming, like a little bit later in the
Right.
year.
And I think that's important because I had to remake something I found in Smart Exchange. I had to make it again because I wanted to include it in a Google slide that I had already made. So I think that's great that I figure they're smart. Smart is smart.
Yeah.
They know what teachers want. So
They're trying.
yeah.
And they really do listen to teacher feedback.
I know. They're
they
great.
really do. And they it may not be instant, and it may not be tomorrow, but they'll try.
Yep.
But I wanted to point out really quick. So let's say, I don't know, let's just do social studies. I just want to put something in the search here. What I wanted to show you is that no matter what you search for in the Smart Exchange, one of the things that you can do is go down to resource type, and you can actually click on the option that says activities. And so now I can't promise that every single lesson will be activities, but more than likely it will include some sort of game-based activity already in here. So you can see, here's one example. Here's another one. So let's just click on this particular one. I noticed it's a flip out. And what's kind of neat, in the preview, you can actually interact with the game. So you can actually like click on these little tiles and see, is this a game that you'd want? And if it is, you can always save it directly to your Smart Learning Suite Online library, or you can download it, and it will download as a Smart Notebook lesson.
Got it.
And then that way you can merge multiple pages together for the moment. So if you download it as a Smart Notebook file, you can add other pages to that and then upload it back into your Smart Learning Suite Online account. So that would be the workaround for now, to add multiple items together. But coming shortly, hopefully, cross my fingers. I don't have the exact date, but I will let you know.
Okay, awesome.
of that merger coming. So that, just wanted to point that out in Smart Exchange, because that's been a recent change, and I didn't know if you knew about it. So that was kind of a fun little change there. But other than that, I think that's all the content I particularly have. Amy, did you have anything that you wanted to say?
I think that was great, and thank you, Kim, very much for joining us and doing that. And I will send you guys the updates for February in just a few minutes.
Perfect.
So
Thank you. Yeah.
those.
Awesome. Yeah. And Kim, could you go back one more time to your your Smart Learning Suite Online, your that example right there. Yep. So also, and you may have said this, but when you're inside of one of your presentations, like you were just a moment ago, I forgot, Industrial Revolution or whatever, and then when you do add that into from, like, if you had a Google slide and you made it look pretty how you wanted it, or whatnot, some teachers like to really make their backgrounds and things, then you can go and add more slides in as you go through, so it's not like you have to start over.
No, you're absolutely correct. So like, I think I was right here. I'm in the editing mode. These are my slides. So if I wanted to, I could just go down this little plus symbol, and you can even add blank pages.
Right.
So if you just wanted a blank page and you need to add like a title and some topics there, you could do that from here.
So I know that that was mentioned in the introductory one that we did, but just in case someone's tuning in and didn't know, you can add, when you click that plus symbol, you have the option for the blank page or the YouTube video to add right into that slide. Deck that you already imported. Right. And then all the graphic organizers and manipulatives. Yep. So,
Yep.
okay. Well, thank you ladies again so much. We really
Yeah.
appreciate you taking time here with us on this important day to share with us. So thank you so much
Yeah.
for
Yeah,
that.
no problem.
guys.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Thanks. You too.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right,
Bye.
bye-bye.
All right. If you're just tuning in with us today, thank you for joining us. And my name is Kathleen Receiver, and I'm one of the digital innovation leaders here in JCPS. And I work with the amazing Zone 2 Crew Elementary Schools. And up next, we have more exciting tools for you. And my colleague Danielle Washburn is here with us today. And Danielle, do you want to introduce our guest?
Sure. Thank you, Kathleen. And yes, I am Danielle Washburn. I help lead the high school and state agency schools, as well as technically support all schools. So this session is really exciting. We do have Oliver from Nearpod. He will be joining us and talking about how you can actually use Nearpod with your students.
Yep, thank you so much for the introduction. I watched the board meeting yesterday. I was wondering, did Nearpod end up getting approved?
Yes, I believe it did. I will double check with you. Yeah, I know.
Finally, good. Well, that's even better news. And here I'm going to kind of talk with you guys and walk you through what Nearpod 101 looks like. I'm actually the sales rep for the entire Kentucky region. So let me go ahead and share my screen. I was in the classroom myself, and was just, I don't know, I had a colleague who was actually working at Nearpod at the time, and she kind of like recruited me, and I ended up being here now for 3 years. And I'm before joining Nearpod, I actually used the silver version myself, and it was always helpful, and I had no idea of all of what you can do with Nearpod. And nowadays, of course, I'm like a Nearpod pro. So I think the easiest way to learn about Nearpod is actually joining in on a lesson. So if you guys don't mind, you're going to go to join.nearpod.com, and you're going to type in this code, which is UGMNT. U as in umbrella, G as in Gary, M as in Minnesota, N as in nobody, and T as in toy. So I'll give you guys a few minutes to kind of join in on this lesson, just so we have some students or some folks in on the lesson, and then I'll kind of get into what Nearpod actually looks like. Again, that's going to be join.nearpod.com, and you're going to use the code UGMNT. And if you notice, I can share this out as an email, through social media, as a link. If I want to put this through my Google Classroom, I can send this through Remind or Microsoft Teams. And I can easily just make this a Zoom meeting on the fly as well. So a lot of things that you could do with getting quick access. And once you put in the code, it's just going to ask your students to put in their name, and they're going to get directly launched into the lesson. So with that being said, some household things that you guys can see on the top left, we're always going to have our code to join. So if students are coming in late, or if they get kicked off because of Wi-Fi, they can always kind of look at that top left corner to reference what that code is. And then on the bottom left here, you're going to see that I have my student list. This is going to be able to show me kind of who's actively participating in a lesson. That green dot is to let me know that folks are actively participating. If ever that light goes from green to red, I know that might be some folks who aren't actively participating in a lesson. I might need to keep a tab on that person, or let them know, hey, are you sure you're on the right screen? And then I'm able to toggle to show or hide student names at the bottom right. And then over here on the top right, you're gonna see I can easily open to draw on a whiteboard. I can add an activity on the fly, which will see me use some of this stuff, and also switch to student view. So we're going to go ahead and move along. Typically, Nearpod is used, of course, for increasing student engagement. But, with what happened with COVID, I think there's been a lot of folks who are using Nearpod for a lot more, right? There's content that's built into our lesson library. And really, I think what's most impactful is you can flex this between in-person, remote distance learning, or, even that hybrid that seems like, is the most popular that folks are doing now, where, you have some folks in front of you, but there's still some people who are tuning in online. And Nearpod has been that platform that can kind of serve all of those different mediums. And for you, any of you who are very, very brand new to Nearpod, like I said, what we're doing here is really making your lessons interactive, and you could do that through some of our pre-made lessons, which we have over 7,500 lessons that are ready to teach and align to state standards. And it's a huge resource bank of lessons that you guys can really choose from. Or if I already have lessons on Google Slides, I can just start with some of those lessons and Nearpodize them. So maybe if I'm looking for a lesson on, geometry, and I already have a lesson, but I want to kind of add in some Nearpod things, maybe I take a lesson from Nearpod and kind of take what I want and put it into my lesson that I already have on geometry. But it's very flexible in the sense that you could use your own lessons or lessons of ours that we have, or even edit those lessons. Like I said, really helpful because it's flexible between all different mediums of instruction. Before there was a COVID, Nearpod is really helpful in the distance learning space and the hybrid space. But even now, more than ever, with the uncertainty of what instruction is going to look like, I think this is so great, because even if, when we do and finally come back to that physical classroom as like a permanent state, Nearpod's really still going to be that engaging tool that you guys can use. So something that's really helpful in that sense. So I think now it's easy, it'd be helpful to kind of show you guys what a lesson will actually look like. So I put together a small lesson on our solar system. And we're going to start with using this Collaborate board. So as I go through, I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about how I'm using these interactive features and what they are. This is a Collaborate board, very similar to Padlet. If you guys are familiar with Padlet or the Google board that folks use, this is asking me if I want to approve comments before they post. I'm going to click no, and I'm going to ask my students, what do they already know about the solar system? So I'm going, there's a sun, perfect. I'm actually going to go ahead and use my Google Images and find an image to put in here. Kathleen's saying we got planets, right? So I love the Collaborate board because I think this is very low stakes. There's no right or wrong answer here, right? This is really a chance for your students to just open the floor up for participation, right? As you can see, I started the lesson with this just so I can start to see some of that participation for maybe some of those students who might not typically answer something. But I also use this Collaborate board in some cases to kind of crowdsource information from my students. And as you can see, if I was instructing right now, you'll still see posts would continue to come in. We got sun, planets, dwarf planets, moons, right? And if students like certain posts, they can go ahead and actually like it, which gives a little bit of like a social media aspect. And students really like that because it just makes it feel at home, like this is something that, they're used to. And I think it just, again, drives that participation up. Perfect. I love it. Love the participation here. So we're going to keep moving along. After we get some participation from our students and I introduce the concepts, now I want to immerse my students in what it is that we're going to learn today. So we talked about dwarf moons, suns, all that stuff, right? Now I want to actually bring you guys into that space, and literally space here, right? But I might ask like, hey, Katie, I saw that you were talking about a sun and dwarf planets. Can you see any of those things in the VR experience, right? If you guys have VR goggles, this would be a fun time to put them on. Or if not, this is still great to just do it through the laptop or any device that you're using or students are using at home. And like I said, we're just asking our students, what are they observing? We're learning about the solar system today. Danielle, you mentioned the sun. Can you see the sun? Things like really linear help immerse them into what this concept is before it's in their face. And then shortly after we do a virtual reality, I can go ahead and add in an open-ended question. So now I want to get a little bit more meaty with my questions and my answers. And I'm asking, what is closer to the Earth, the sun or the moon? And you can see at the top left, I have my reference media. In this box here, I can put anything from an audio, of myself, audio recording. I can put a video, a picture, Google Translate, whatever I want, pretty much virtually into this box as reference media. And, you can kind of use that as a kind of, anything that you would like to expand on the question. So I'm just asking here, what's closer to the Earth, the sun or the moon? And if I get any answers from my students, one, you're going to see this participation meter go up. And then two, I can always share this out so that on our students' devices, not only are they able to see what a good answer looks like, I'm able to champion Kathleen without necessarily putting her name out there. As a student, you're not going to see these names. On the teacher view, you will. But this just allows us to really dive deep into what a good answer looks like, and what is the right answer, right? And maybe if I see that folks are still struggling with this may be a good time to open my whiteboard, and I may be doing a little bit more of a deep dive on, hey, if this is the moon, and looks like a smiley face here, but if this is the moon and this is our sun, and Earth is to be over here, then which one is really closer, right? And I may put my Earth here and just have them kind of, dive a little bit deeper. It's just a good tool to use on the fly. I just wanted to show you guys how you can use it. Don't take my drawings and judge me for them, but we're gonna go ahead and continue to move on.
I think they're great.
Thanks for the support. So now here's a quiz, Danielle and Kathleen, if you guys can just play the lottery here. No pressure to get everything right here, but just want you guys to experience what this looks like. You're gonna see that on my screen, I'm getting live feedback on how my students are doing. This is super important because a lot of times when we're doing quizzes, all of sometimes these things don't get graded till the next day. They don't end up getting graded. Sometimes it's a week that's gone by and our short quizzes, our 10 question quizzes don't get graded here. I'm getting this feedback live, right? And this is important because students understand how they're doing, right? So I can share out results. Students are going to get their individual results to their device. Or as a group, we can look at how we did. I can go ahead and hide my students' names and just show how we did as a classroom. But I think this is really important because this is what real-time teaching and learning looks like, right? I'm able to see, hey, we didn't do that well on number 2 and number 3 as a group. And this might be a great opportunity for me to switch to my student view and literally go to the question that we're struggling at and just, have those real conversations. Why was it that a lot of folks put D instead of B for number 2? And maybe I'm going back to the actual reference text and we're having those moments of clarity that I think a lot of times gets missed in the classroom because we're not able to teach in real time like this. So this is really helpful for me. And I think it would be super helpful for you all too, just being able to, have this high level of teaching in the classroom using Nearpod. So one of my favorite tools to use. And I think, this of course is going to be some of your summative assessment that you do because a lot of what we did in this lesson before this has been fun and engaging. But you do want to get some of that, to the core of, are my students actually learning something?
Oliver?
Yes?
I know I say this every time, but I truly do feel like I'm learning something every single time that you present. One, I just want to reemphasize the resource or the source that you put up there. I I guess I just glanced over it, but I think that's really great way for students to review, just like what you said, as well as the text to speech as well. I really know that the ESL department really used Microsoft text to speak. So that is another great tool that can be highlighted as students and teachers are using Nearpod.
Definitely. I'm going to go ahead and actually tab out of my lesson. And I want to just show you guys a little bit of how to navigate around Nearpod. And you guys can jump in. Let me know if you guys have any questions. So, I know I can answer those on the spot, but I'm going to go ahead and kind of walk you guys through what does Nearpod look like as a teacher, right? So if I'm in my library, this is what I'm going to see here. As you guys can see, I have some folders at the top that kind of organize my lessons. And I'm going to have all of my lessons here. So any lesson I can do live, which was what we just did, where I control your screen as a student. And I can do that through Zoom. I can just do a regular live participation, or I can do a student pace mode where my students would be going at their own pace. And that could be because of rigor, that could be because of interest. Maybe a student completely missed a lesson, and here I'm able to give that student the same lesson that we just did, student paced, but you have all of those options. We also have school and district libraries. So, my wife is actually starting her first day of teaching in a week from now. And one of her biggest things has been like, I don't know what lesson planning is. What is lesson planning? And she doesn't know that a lot of what lesson planning is taking what our lead teacher might do, or a good lesson plan and kind of recreating what works across a school or a district. But just that fear of not knowing, what how do I lesson plan? What is like lesson planning just made me feel so good about resources like this, because here you are, right? If I'm a fourth grade teacher or a third grade teacher, there's literally folders here of not just lessons from Nearpod, but lessons that we curated as, maybe, Johnson Traditional Middle School, or, the district in itself. And you guys are going to be able to have your personalized libraries of resources that all of your teachers, either by school or by way of district, are going to be able to access and easily use, that are ready to teach. So I love these tools. So I think it's really streamlines curriculum throughout the district or school. And now we're going to go ahead and take a look at the actual lesson library. So if I'm looking for a pre-made lesson, like maybe the one that I just used, I can either search for something like solar system here in my lesson library, or I might do something like search Kentucky, math, and maybe I'm a third grade teacher, and I'm looking at, all the lessons here that are third grade math lessons that are under Kentucky standards. I can even look as far as the actual strands. So if I was looking for solving real world and mathematical problems involving perimeters and polygons, etc., I can actually find a lesson that's going to be based off of that standard and ready to teach, right? And adding these lessons and launching this lesson is as easy as clicking the lesson. And we're just going to add this to my library, and I can show in my library and launch it, right? We're not going to do that today because we don't need to, but that's how easy it is to just add a lesson to your library. And then also you're going to see we have a bunch of featured stuff. So this is going to be some of the stuff that are kind of relevant, current to today. So we have some racial justice stuff, election 2020, COVID-19 stuff, distance learning picks, Martin Luther King Jr. Day, right? A lot of relevant things. We also have our interactive video platform. So if any of you guys are familiar with Edpuzzle, this is, I would say, pretty much our version of what Edpuzzle looks like, right? And just so you guys can see what this looks like, we have a library of lessons and videos that are ready to teach in line of state standards, but you can also use videos from YouTube. You can use videos that you've made yourself. And these are, what maybe you want to use for some of that asynchronous learning. Maybe you're looking for a way to kind of start the lesson. This is a great way to do so. But very similar to what you might get with Edpuzzle. You could do it live, student paced, or front of class where you can present from your device for the class to view. And these are very easy, again, to kind of just, engage with your students. Very small, kind of bite-sized lessons for you and your teachers as well. And we have that whole library that you guys can choose from. And then we, of course, have lessons by subject. You can look here by publisher. A lot of publishers that you guys are already familiar with: Common Sense Media, Desmos, LifeLick, PhET Simulations. A lot of the things that you guys are already using built into our lesson library. And then, of course, our premium collections. I think one of the ones that's getting a lot of interest in JCPS is this Historical Perspectives in Literacy. But everything from vocabulary, college and career exploration, digital citizenship and literacy, and this is in partnership with Common Sense Media, social and emotional learning, EL for our English learners, Learning Labs, which is a teacher PD, and Historical Perspectives in Literacy. So these are all some of our premium collections that I'm hoping to get you guys access to soon. And then with that being said, I'll take a quick pause. If any of you guys have anything that you want to add to what I'm saying, any questions, take a pause so you guys can do so.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything at this time. Again, just so many great things that are happening in Nearpod, and we really love the fact that you pointed out the resources that can be found in Nearpod.
Yep, definitely. So with that, I'll show you guys a little bit of what reporting looks like too. So all of what you see, right, these are lessons that, you can launch, and we want to make sure that there's a way for you guys to actually see progress from your students, and some of that just, results of the lessons you guys completed. So you're going to see here, we have both of our students who were in that lesson, how they performed on the quiz, how they did on the open-ended question, and their overall participation. I'm going to be able as a teacher to access everything from the actual quiz to the Collaborate board and how they actually, what they even showed on the Collaborate board. I've used this in parent-teacher conferences before, just to show kind of what the actual participation looks like from students in the classroom. And I can download this as a CSV or a PDF for my entire class, or even for a specific student. Can even share this out. Again, very useful with engaging with parents.
That's a really good idea, Oliver. I like that. As a parent myself, it's nice to see what, things that I can't necessarily see, especially since I am an educator. I want to see all those things that my kids are doing. So I really like that.
Yeah, definitely. And it's funny because, we all have those, the kind of like that idea of what your student might be, doing in the class, and it's hard to convey. But here it's super easy, where it's like, this is the lesson, and the Collaborate board, I think, is like, it's not too much to show, or, of course, there's some cases you want to give a little bit more, but it just gives a nice view of like, hey, this is what participation looks like coming from Danielle,
Right.
So I love it. And then lastly, as a wrap up, I'm going to show you all how easy it is to take my slides from Google Slides and make them into a Nearpod lesson. So all we're doing here is using our Nearpod add-on. And if you don't have it already, it's just very easy download. It's going to go ahead and pop up on my right side. I have to sign in. Give me a second. And it's going to pop up on my right side here. And I can do anything and everything that, I want to add into a Nearpod lesson. So if this was just a blank lesson on health, I'm able to add in anything I want here, right? So maybe this is a health lesson and we're starting with, you know, a collaborate board to just see how my folks are doing. I can put in, you know, how are you feeling today? And maybe I want to put yellow, make it a little bit more bright. And go ahead and add. And once this saves, boom, I have my collaborate board in. Maybe I want to take a virtual field trip and we want to take you guys to a soccer field. And this is going to bring me to all of the different virtual field trips we could do with soccer. And, you know, whatever, I can go ahead and add this into my lesson. And then just as easy as that, I just added 2 interactive things into a lesson, right? Very easy, right? So a lot of folks sometimes can get overwhelmed with using resources. I mean, you guys saw that's very easy to just put in 2 things that are going to take a lesson that may have not been engaging at all, and not in the sense, maybe a quality lesson, but lacking engagement. And you can see here, you guys know how engaging that collaborate board is, how engaging a virtual reality is, right? And just adding those 2 pieces, I've just added a huge impact of engagement into my lesson. And just like that, if I click save and go to Nearpod, it's gonna go ahead and bring me into my Nearpod library where that same lesson will pop up. And I can go ahead and launch it live, student pace, whatever I want. So I just wanted to show you guys how seamless that is. And you can also do, you know, create your lessons through Nearpod as well, or your videos through Nearpod as well.
That is awesome. And someone in the chat, Rebecca Reynolds, she wanted to know, what is your favorite thing about Nearpod?
My favorite thing about Nearpod, for me, is just the seamlessness of the one platform. I think Nearpod is kind of one of those. It's like a Swiss Army knife. You know, like I do a lot of things in my house of, like, you know, building things, and I always have my Swiss Army knife because it has a saw in it, it has a pliers. There's so much that it could do, and it's so compact, and it's like that one thing that you need for any project. And I feel like Nearpod is the same thing in instruction, right? With COVID, there was so many resources that we're all leaning on and using, and I think in result, our students may have been impacted with just like an overload of resources, ed tech resources. And why not have just that one vehicle for instruction, right? Yes, use your Kahoot, use your like use all of your different things, but you want to put them and integrate them into one platform so that your students are getting one learning experience. And I think that's what Nearpod does. That's most impactful, along with it being real time and engaging. But just the fact that it's that one engaging resource. So that'd be it for me.
That is awesome. I'm seeing on your screen Time to Climb. So that's another engaging activity. I tried it once with several students and they really like it. But that is similar to like Kahoot and quizzes. Is that correct?
Yep. There's a lot on here that you would get from, you know, maybe any other ed tech resource that you'll use. And we don't want to take that, you know, the autonomy away from teachers of like, oh no, only use Nearpod, right? You know, there's plenty of things that you can use and add into Nearpod, but I think, of course, Nearpod has a lot of those different resources that maybe you don't need to use a Kahoot because there's a Time to Climb, or maybe you don't use an Edpuzzle because we have an interactive video platform. And it also just saves you time as a teacher, right? You're not having to go to 5 different places to create a lesson. You're in one place and you're able to build out an entire lesson that's engaging and, you know, also fruitful for your students as well. With that, I think I'm good. I can answer any questions from the chat, but definitely don't want to overwhelm you guys with the first what might be your first introduction to Nearpod.
Yeah, I think that is all for us too. And thank you so much for sharing. And this video will be available later on demand. We'll kind of cut it up and we will share it with others.
Alrighty. But thank you guys for inviting me an opportunity, of course, to work with JCPS. I talk about Jefferson County probably more than you guys even think about Nearpod. So I'm super excited about hopefully, being able to partner with you guys and continuing this momentum that we're seeing on our back end of folks just using Nearpod, buying school licenses. We're really appreciative of all the support that we've seen in the district and want to keep up with that momentum.
Well, great. Thank you so much. Oh, sorry, Danielle, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say thank you.
Yes, thank you. We appreciate it. And I'm sure we will be learning more from you soon.
All righty, guys. Thank you.
And thanks to all of our viewers today. This is it for today, but we will be back again next Wednesday on JCPS, digitallearning.com. And until then, we'll see you on the hashtag.
Bye, guys.